Hello, everybody. So, in this clip, there was a lot of background noise, so I'm just going to voice over. So, welcome to part 2 of my tower defense tutorial. So, last tutorial, we just went over the basics, like making the map and a round system, but now we're going to start on making enemies. So, what you're going to need to do is add a folder called Utilities in your map and add a part called Start, and you're going to want to make sure it's where you want your units to start at, and turn off can collide, make sure it's anchored, and make it transparent. And then after this, you're going to want to start building waypoints. Present me will explain waypoints right about now. Alright, so now you're going to have to start adding waypoints to your track. So what they are is they're just little invisible parts that mark where the enemies are going to go. So you have to put them on every curve or like thing on your track. So I'm going to just go to anchored. And then I'm going to go to turn off can collide, and I'm going to set transparency to 1. Now I'm just going to duplicate it and move it to every single corner of the track here. Okay, now that we have waypoints done, we're going to start by creating an enemy class. So before we get into this, I'm going to tell you guys what a class is. So a class in Roblox is basically a digital object of sorts that can store a bunch of properties and like can run on its own. So I'm going to show you how we build those using meta tables. So we're going to open up server storage, and we're going to add a folder in modules, just call it classes. This doesn't matter, it's just for, like readability, and we're going to add a module script. Call it enemy class. So now that we have this, we're going to do this. Services, local replicated storage equals game get service replicate storage. We're going to go modules, local enemy class equals this, return enemy class. And we're going to have to do this. Enemy class dot underscore underscore index equals enemy class. So now, when we create a class under this table, when we try to do a function of that class, if it doesn't exist, it will go to this, which will be very important later. But let's just start with this. We need to create models for the enemies, so we're going to do this. Just rig builder, R6, black avatar. It doesn't have to be R6, I just like that style. So for body colors, we're just going to make everything green because I'm making a zombie. And now I just have like a green dude. I'm going to scale him relative to the track, so I don't want him to be human sized. There we go. We have a small guy, and I'm just going to make it so that I can't see his little name. There we go. So now let's add a folder and let's go to share. Let's add a folder in replicated storage. We're going to call it presets. Add another folder. Enemies. Rig. There we go. So now I'm going to name him zombie. And we're going to add another module script under enemy class, and we're going to call it presets. So we're going to need 2 things. One is we're going to need a type. So we're going to do export type enemy preset equals a table, and it's going to have health, which is a number, speed, which is a number, name, which is a string, custom properties. Actually, no, we're going to get rid of the name for something better. And custom properties is going to be a table of string any. So the reason we're doing this is because we're going to need a way to get the enemy's health and speed without just referencing the humanoid. So we have the health here, the speed here, and the custom properties. For custom properties, it's going to be if we want camo, if we want lead, stuff like that. And then we're going to do return this table, and we're going to add all of the enemies we want. So we're going to do a zombie. It's going to have It's going to be a table with a health of 10, speed of 10, and custom properties. It's going to have none. And we're going to add a question mark here just in case they have none. So now that we're back on this, we're going to require the presets module, which is as simple as local enemy presets equals require script wave child presets. And we're actually going to get a type here. We're going to do this. Types. Local, so export type enemy equals set metatable type of set metatable. It's going to be this, and we're going to type cast. So basically we're letting Roblox know that table is going to be the same type as the enemy preset. And the other table is going to be this, and it's going to be the same type as the enemy class table. So this will be useful later. And we're actually also going to add some things to the enemy preset as well. We're going to add waypoints is just a number. And we're going to add reached target, which is going to be a Boolean. And we're going to add a comma. So now we're going to go back here and we're going to actually start by making an enemy. So we're going to add public functions, and the first function we're going to have is enemy class.new. This will create a new enemy, and it will turn out enemy question mark. I forgot, you have to make it a function. Function enemy.new. Basically, it will output an enemy if it gets the right thing. So we need a preset, which is a string question mark, and the start part, which is base part. So first we're going to check if they have a start part and if they have a preset. Alright, so first we're going to do if type of start part does not equal instance, or start part, or not start part colon is a base part. Now this will check if it is not a base part, and if it is not, then we're going to just return nil. Now to return at the end of this, and then we're going to do local preset to use equals preset, or, and we'll just do zombie. And we're going to do local enemy preset equals presets preset to use. If enemy preset, then we're going to do local self equals set metatable enemy preset enemy class. Now we're going to do self dot waypoint equals 1, self dot reached target equals false. And then we're going to return self, which is an enemy. And there we go. Now we have created an enemy. Alright, so now that we've done that, the main function we're going to need is actually to track that waypoint. So first we're going to add a function to the enemy class colon. Now what this will do is it will allow us to use this. So we could do enemy colon, and we're going to do move to position. And I forgot to add one more thing. We need to add a model, which is going to be a model. And this is where we go to references. Local enemy presets equals replicated storage dot shared dot presets colon wait for child enemies. And local enemy model equals enemy enemy presets folder so that we don't get it mixed up. Enemy presets folder colon get find first child preset to use. If enemy preset and enemy model, then self.model equals enemy model colon clone self.model.parent equals workspace. Now move to position, we're going to add a pause, which is just a vector 3. Now we're going to do this. So we're going to typecast self. So when you use a colon, which is called a method, when you do that, it automatically passes self as a variable. So we're going to need to make sure self equals self, which is a enemy. So now we know that self is an enemy, so we can use things such as self.model. So local humanoid equals self.model.humanoid. No, self.model colon find first child of class humanoid. If not humanoid, then return. And we're also going to do and type or type of pause is not equal vector 3. So basically we just make sure that the position is right and there's a humanoid. And then all we have to do is humanoid colon move to pause. And now we're also going to do local enemy humanoid equals enemy model colon find first child of class humanoid. We're going to move it to inside of here. If not enemy humanoid, then return. So now we do this, and we can do enemy humanoid dot move to finished colon connect function reached, and we can do self dot reached target equals reached, and there we go. So now we're going to add function enemy class colon move to waypoint, and waypoint is going to be a base part question mark. If waypoint, then waypoint is going to be a base part, and we can just do a little copy of this, and let's just make it lowercase for consistency and just paste in this, and there we go. Now we know that waypoint is a base part. Let's make sure we know self is an enemy, and all we have to do self colon move to position waypoint dot position. Wait, hold on. Yeah, waypoint dot position. There we go. So now we have all of these functions here. Let's also add one more function enemy class colon destroy. Now we need to do self equals self is an enemy. Self.model colon destroy, and that's all. So now let's go back to our round handler here, and let's actually add this function here, function round handler dot init, so that it can just be loaded by the module loader. And we're gonna wrap task.spawn function So we're going to wrap this, and we're going to just do round handler colon start, because if we don't, then it will just keep waiting and the loader won't be able to do things. So now let's do and then we're going to do this. So we need to get a reference to run service, local run service, game get service run service, and we're going to add a private function. So first, these are public functions. Let's add a private function here. And we're going to do local function heartbeat, and we're going to add a variable called delta, which is a number. And basically, we're going to go through current units for underscore unit for underscore enemy in current units do. And I'm actually just going to go through and replace current units with current enemies because it's supposed to be an enemy. So for underscore enemy and current enemies do. We're first going to type current enemies, so we'll need to get replicated storage, local replicated. And we're also going to need to reference the enemy module. Let's move modules above this. Local enemy class equals replicated storage dot shared wave child loader. Wait, no, never mind. I forgot. We're supposed to do this. Local server storage, not replicated storage. Enemy class equals server storage dot modules dot classes wave child enemy class, and make sure it's required. Require that. So current enemies is a table of enemy class dot enemy. So it's a table of those. And now for enemy, which is an enemy class dot enemy, do if enemy dot waypoint and not enemy dot reach target. Let's add one more boolean, which is going to be moving, which is another boolean. So there we go. And we're going to do self dot moving equals false, and not self dot moving. Then, oh, my bad. Enemy colon move to waypoint, and we're going to need to reference the map right here. So we're going to go here, references, local map equals workspace colon wave child spring map, local waypoints equals map dot utilities dot waypoints, local start equals map dot utilities colon wave child start. There we go. Enemy colon move to waypoints, waypoints colon find first child enemy dot waypoint. Let's make sure it's toString. So enemy dot waypoint, we're gonna do this. We're gonna actually make it so it sets to 0 at the start. Enemy dot waypoint plus equals 1. And right here, when we move to a position, self dot moving equals true. Just make sure it actually, yep, there we go. So now this should work fine. And right here, when we do this, we're going to table.insert current enemies, enemy class, colon, move to enemy class dot new, and we're going to do preset, which is going to be zombie, and start part, which is going to be the start. Ooh, I almost completely forgot to do this. Self.model colon pivot to start dot cframe. There we go. So now we have that, and we're just going to do task.wait spawn speed. So let's see how this works. Ooh, I almost forgot as well. We need to actually make this do something finally. Local replicated. So I know last time I told you not to. You're going to want to copy this now. So local replicate storage equals game colon get service replicate storage. And then we're going to do this loader. Local loader equals replicate storage dot shared with child loader, and forgot to require it. Local to load equals, and let's get server storage as well. Local server storage equals game colon get service server storage. Local to load equals server storage dot modules colon get descendants, and then loader colon load modules to load. Let me just make sure I do this. And now let's see if this works. Alright, so it looks like we have created 3 units, but they are not moving anywhere. So let's see what's going on there. This is why. So we, as you can see here, we forgot to do this. Run service.heartbeat colon connect heartbeat. So basically when we initialize it, we want to make sure that the heartbeat function is connected to this. Now the reason we don't do it immediately is because we want to wait until everything in the loader is initialized. Because if we do it before, it's just not good. And if you look here, all of them move to the first one. So now, the reason why it doesn't move to the second one is because I did another thing and I forgot to set self.moving equals false. And we can just remove self.reach to target. It's not needed anymore. Reach to target, and now that's gone. Let's see how this works. Alright, we move to this one. And we're still not moving to the second one, which means that there's something going on not causing it not to. So, from what I saw there, we're going to transition to a custom event. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to presets, move here, and we're going to go to finished moving event, which will be a RBX script signal. Now, right here, we're going to do self.finishedMoving event equals instance.new. No. Alright, so local finished moving equals instance.new bindable event. Self.finishedMoving event, which is what we call it here, is going to be equal to finished moving dot event. And we're also just going to add another thing, self dot finished moving instance equals finished moving. The reason we're going to do that is because we can do this. self.finished moving instance :destroy. Just gotta make sure that's out of here. And self. Now we're gonna go to enemy class and we're gonna do this. So move to position, self.moving equals true, humanoid.move to pause, and we're gonna do task.delay. So we're gonna need to get the distance from this. So self.finished moving instance on fire. And let's wrap this in a task.spawn so that it doesn't like halt everything. We're gonna print yay. Okay. So it's only working for one of them. That's a good clue. We found our issue. Basically, what we're doing here, when we set this meta table to enemy preset, we're actually getting the instance, not a copy. So we're going to actually make a new private function called deep copy. Local function deep copy table, which is going to just be that, and it will output a table. Local returned table equals that, and we're going to return table. But now let's get into it. So for k v in table do, and let's actually do table to copy, so we're not just overwriting the actual table function. Alright, I replaced table with table to copy. Oh, not table to copy, table to copy, because if we use table, it overwrites this library. But basically, we're gonna do if type v equals table, then so if type v equals table, return table k equals deep copy v. So basically, if there is a table in here, then it's just going to copy that table and make it this. So k is the key in the table. So now we're going to do else. No, we'll do this, and then we'll just do continue, which will just make it go through the loop. And if it's not a table, then we'll do return table k equals v, and we'll return table. Now we need to go here, and we're going to do set metatable deep copy enemy preset enemy class. Alright, now let's try it. And there we go. Now we have our enemies moving. Now the main issue here is that once they reach the last one, they'll break, so let's fix that. So let's do this local found waypoint equals this. And we'll do, if found waypoint, not waypoint, then we'll move here. And if it's not this, then we'll just destroy the enemy. And also, we're going to do this here. We're going to create a collision group. So collision groups, we're going to add a group, just call it enemy. And right now, we'll just make them not be able to collide with itself. And we're going to select every single part in the zombie. You'll have to do this with all your units. And their collision group, we will set them to enemy. Now they are moving. They reach the end. This guy seems really... So that's definitely an issue. I think the main problem with it might be because we didn't anchor this entire map. So I'm just going to click on the map, click anchor, and try it again. Yeah. This guy just seems like he's falling really far behind for some reason. I wonder why. Let's look. So we have, this is the zombie. What is he? His walk speed is 6. While the others... Yeah, so his walk speed is just much slower than the others, but... Alright. I believe I know why this happens. Basically, we're not removing the enemy. Table.remove current enemies, enemy. Continue. It is still definitely weird why this one has such a low walk speed compared to the rest. Ah. So you have to add table.find, not just the enemy. I'm not sure why that speed thing is happening. Guessing it has to do with this. We'll just comment it out for now. Yeah, there we go. So now all of them are walking together. That's weird. Did I put the waypoints at the wrong spot? No, so they just seem to be finishing here. And look, as we continue, we'll get more units. It's definitely very weird how, like, right here they all just decide. I think I know. It might be a network ownership issue. So we're going to do for underscore part in pairs self.model colon get descendants if part colon is a base part, then part colon set network owner to nil. So basically we did that just to make sure that they have the same, don't have a network owner. Basically, network owner causes move to glitch a lot. So that definitely is weird. I'm thinking maybe it's because previous finished moving events are firing. Let's actually add a number here and do waypoint is a number question mark, and if we'll do move to finish colon wait if waypoint and self dot waypoint equals waypoint, then else if not waypoint, then, and now we'll just fire the number and we'll do this. ToString enemy.waypoint move to waypoint. The num will be the enemy without waypoint. Now let's just see if this works. Moment of truth. Yep, no, okay. Just definitely is weird. Alright, so I will work on fixing that in the next tutorial, but it's already very long. So the next tutorial will come out very soon, fixing it. But for now, like and subscribe if you want to see more from me, and peace.